What's going on, workforce? Brian and Chris here, and today we want to talk about the dream fitting situation, blurring the lines between Final Fantasy XIV's Cash Shop and Final Fantasy XIV itself. Also, as an evolution of the game and as it progresses forward to the next 10 years, the question is, does it even matter that Final Fantasy XIV is blurring the lines? So feel free to sound off below with your thoughts. But Chris, why don't we jump in? This is just going to let us obviously preview what is on the Cash Shop on our characters. I think that's actually a handy feature because now you don't have to speculate, does that thing that I really want or think I want going to end up looking good on my character in the first place? But what are your thoughts? Is this a slippery slope? Are you concerned with 14's Cash Shop at all? What do you think?
I tend to side with Yoshi P on this. Like, the game has a cash shop. All games have cash shops, and that is what it is. And that, in theory, has made way for things like the EU data center, and is likely a part of the Oceanic data center. Like, the game is growing, and the cash shop is a big part of it. But Yoshi P has been a purist in all of his past statements, and even in this statement during the announcement was still a purist in that he is conveying the message, and sometimes he's been more explicit than others, that he believes that this game is a game that when you log in, if you pay a base subscription and own the current expansion of the game, that should be all you need. You should not feel the need to buy extra retainers. You should not feel the need to pay for server transfers. You should not feel the need to, there's no way to pay for player housing. The Fantasias are very optional. Everything is very cosmetic. You should never feel that you have to spend anything beyond the subscription from this game. And that lack of asking is something I appreciate. Offering is something that's fine. Like, these games need more revenue than the subscription's been the same since I was like on an allowance and had an 8:30 bedtime. And then the base cost of the expansions has been the same that whole time. So like they don't really go up in cost. So like, I understand that the cash shop needs to exist, but Glamour was at one point in only and is now everywhere Sanctuaries is. I just don't see how we're not looking back at this in 7.3 sitting in FanFest looking at 8.0, and people are like, we're getting questions at Q&As. Why can't I try on things from the cash shop anywhere I can change my Glamour plate?
Right. It's such an interesting kind of viewpoint. It's going to be an interesting thing of challenge because we've seen time and time again people say, well, 14 isn't predatory because you see its cash shop. It's all the way over here. It's completely separate from the game. I've heard that argument made many times.
You can't even buy the game. How can they be predatory?
You get it. Yeah. It's like, that's the fact. Like, and it's so difficult to purchase the game where new people coming over, like, this is really confusing and whatnot. So Square Enix is with 14 has made interesting barriers to be able to hand them money. But at its core, the foundation of a cash shop doesn't necessarily mean predatory. People tend to sit here and try to blanket statement, oh, you've got microtransactions, therefore all my microtransactions are bad. And when you run into somebody who has that viewpoint, there's really not a discussion to be had, because essentially what you end up finding is that the people who are saying absolutely no cash shop versus people who are like, I'm just going to throw money at this game because I love it. Like, those are the two ends of the extreme. 95%, probably more like probably 90% of the player base is like, yeah, if I want something from it, I'm going to go get it. And otherwise, it's not necessarily something I'm actively always thinking about. And them adding in the dream fitting situation, I think is actually going to save people some money, and it's going to have people spend more money as well. So some people, it's going to be like, oh, thank goodness I didn't purchase that because I didn't really know how it would look like. But then there's going to be people like, oh, I want that. I want that. I want that. And so my question is that
there's no way they implemented this because the data is like, how can we make less money on the cash shop?
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying that there will be a small percentage of people who will actually save money. The majority of people are going to spend more money, and this, I'm just kind of like, what's the problem? Like, why not implement it in game? Like, is that going? And I would be curious. So, like, I'm not saying they have to, but if the line in the sand is them implementing the ability to go ahead and just spend your Krista on a cash shop item from the end, like, is that your line in the sand? I know it's not Chris's, but at that point, like, I'm just saying, like, why are we making this extra step? Oh, now that you found it, okay, now go log into the cash shop and purchase it, and then log out and log back in, and then maybe it's shown up. Like, at some point, I'm not a big fan of microtransactions, but I'm just like, it just seems ridiculous because it does feel like we're going in that direction.
mean, the same reason anything's a step. The same reason anything's a step. There's all sorts of behavior that, you know, we limit who has access to it, where we do it, when we do it. Context matters. So saying because I can buy liquor at a liquor store, I should be able to buy liquor at, you know, my kid's state fair. Like, well, they have liquor. I mean, you're just saving me a step. Otherwise, I have to go over there.
Save me a step.
And like, I just
exactly.
want to go to the little kid's lemonade stand and get vodka and the lemonade. What's the big deal? Like, you're just saving me a step. So like, same reason anything has a step, because there is behavior that we want to make it very, very clear that this is what's happening. And so like when I play something like Lost Ark, when I play something like Lords Mobile, and I know what it is, when I downloaded the game, I knew that the moment I log in every single day, I'm going to be barraged and reminded, give us money, give us money, give us money. And the reason it's going to be like that is because they are a friend who invited you over for dinner. They put out their nicest wine. They put out their best food. They're serving you dessert. They're offering you to stay the night. And at no point are you giving them anything back. You're never bringing the wine. You're never bringing the food. And so they're always kind of like, if you want to pay me back, you could. If you want to pay me back, you could. If you want to pay me back, you could. Because you never gave anything. So, of course, they're always going to ask. And that's the nature of the relationship from the moment I download Lost Ark. Every single day, you logged in again. Want to give us money now? Because they need it. They're hungry for it. Because I didn't have to pay them. Final Fantasy, I set out with a different relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You and I said, hey, we're going to go out to this buffet together. You have to prepay it. I'm going to put in my $50 for my wife and I. You're going to put in your $50 for you and your wife. And then we're not going to talk about money all night. And now what's happening is the guy from the Lost Ark restaurant's coming over and sitting down with us and saying, you guys want to talk about money? You guys want to talk about money? I don't get it. When you sit over there with me, you talk about money. Why can't we talk about money here? Because this is a table that I haven't had to do that in the past. Yeah. So like anybody who doesn't want this, that's a fair feeling. But it is 100% where we're going.
I get this feeling of Yoshi P good cop, you know, in terms of Square Enix, right? Like
board of directors good cop.
Sure. Because essentially, you're protecting like the name Final Fantasy, but it's not like Square Enix doesn't have means of extracting money with that Lost Ark model. Like it's you could have implemented like, you know, Brave Exvius, you know, it's like, hey, you want to talk about money? It's like, get it. Like I'll talk to you in a minute. And so there's a part of me that wonders though, is that, are we training ourselves as a community to be more accepting of that to when it comes into place? So it's not that all of a sudden Cash Shop, all of a sudden, you know, these options, it's just like, you know what, we got a 10-year plan and in 10 years, Cash Shop's in game, but it's not so overnight so that like somebody, like same thing where he came out and said no NFTs, right? Like, I think that was really important because all of a sudden you have the Square Enix CEO saying NFTs and then Yoshi P saying, but not in this game that is like the biggest cash cow right now for 14. You know, it's
but
like
for context, remember that the no NFT statement was made during the pre-show. That was not a scheduled statement. I need to make this clear before the Cash Shop announcement.
Right.
So it is not, I need to make something clear. Now let's talk about money. That was an off the cuff thing that happened.
But that's also the same kind of mindset that it's like at some point, like I feel like Yoshi P's reading the room, leading the room, in like, okay, yeah, people are in NFTs, but if that conversation flips in theory, you know, like people, I have my NFT concerns. I've expressed them. We've talked about it in a video. You guys can go check it out. Those still stand, but I'm saying that as like culture and mindset shift and change, like him saying no NFTs basically could be a statement of just not right now. Like at some point, like if all of a sudden you guys are begging for them, yeah, we'll consider it. Like at some point with the glamour dress, like with the dream fitting, if it's like, can I just have Krista? Can we just use this, you know, premium currency in game for these features? You know, at some point, like I could see that it's going to be a longer road to get to that. But I even, you know, like them talking about the dream fitting wasn't surprising. The fact that it's taken them this long just to get that feature is actually what surprised me. I thought we would actually see something like that, like actually in Stormblood is what I was theorizing back in the day. I was like, oh, I wonder if they're going to continue to blend that road. And Yoshi P's Resistance, I think is the good cop, is the good board member, you know, representation here. What do you think?
I think, remember that in Stormblood, you didn't have any races that couldn't wear, like, when did we add, was Viera Stormblood? Shadowbringers.
No, we didn't get any new race in Stormblood. We had Heaven's
So
Word, we got
remember
a
the
race
other
there.
reason for this dream fitting is like back in Stormblood, everything worked on everybody,
Oh,
and
that's
whether it
true.
looked good or bad is an opinion, and that's
Yeah.
fine. Maybe you bought something and you're like, I thought
Oh,
it'd be
bummer.
redder,
But
or
now you buy
bigger, or
something that
whatever.
doesn't fit with your race.
Oh, it doesn't match my hat as well as I thought it did. Yes, but you could wear your hat. So like, I will say the other different thing now is like there's really key items. I'm doing an MSQ playthrough for the first time post Endwalker, and I'm gonna get into some content that I story skipped pretty quick here, and I'm like the Conjurer stuff's all new to me, and so I'm having a lot of fun. And they give you a mask at one point in the story to wear this ceremony, and I'm playing as a Roth, and chat goes, "Is the mask gonna show up?" And like just the fact that you have to debate that is a key difference. So I will say, like, the dream fitting is doing good things. Nothing is black and white. I don't want to see it in game. I do think it's where we're headed. I do think there's no avoiding that. I don't have to be happy about it, but like, it's gonna have some good to it. There are going to be people who this is what reminds them that Vieira can't wear everything. There are going, it's going to be there, and more resources for the game. When we talk about adding an Oceanic data center, and then people go, well, where's the Spanish one? Like, they were in the middle of the Oceanic data center announcement, and people were already like, well, where's the next data center? We didn't even know we were getting a fourth region, and we are all hungry for the fifth immediately because there were people that wanted that one before Oceanic because they would benefit from it. And so like I think, when you talk about what gets to bring a Spanish speaking online would be a huge departure because they don't keep a huge amount of Spanish speaking staff. They don't keep Spanish cutscenes, Spanish supported in all cutscenes and things like that. So I don't think Spanish is supported in any voice acted cutscenes, is it?
It's not supported in the game at all.
So if you wanted to bring on like a Central and South American data center, hopefully it would be announced with like, and we're going to go back and add more voice to
Or any voice.
And while we do, we're going to go ahead and add Spanish to all voiced cutscenes. So hopefully it would be paired with that, but that costs something. And I don't think any of us want a $35 base subscription and $19 per retainer. So like, how do they get it? It can't be more players. It will never be big enough. It has to be more.
Well, I mean, then like the subscription has never gone up. Like it's never, we've never seen it across it. So it ends up being interesting that we really only have 2 subscription based games right now. World of Warcraft still holding on to that, even with its sub money model token. And then you have Final Fantasy XIV. And so those are the 2 ones. And then you'll see everything else launch with a, maybe a sub option, or we'll see everything kind of shift into a battle pass model for the genre itself. But I think essentially you bring up Lost Ark, and this is just kind of my thought, is that when people like the game, it was so entertaining for me to see everybody struggle with Lost Ark pay to win. You stated that like in our video talking about it, going well before going into it, and we saw people in the comments, it's not. Then all of a sudden people who are bigger than us state that it is, and everybody's like, it is pay to win, how could you play that? And then you go look at pretty much consistently 800, a million people playing it, and it's like, people don't care. Like the people who do, like, really it bothers them in terms of microtransactions are a very small vocal
minority. They paid to get
minority.
to 1300, and then they found out, wait a second, now they want more money?
They want even more money?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. But at some point you realize the people who are like actively like grinding, like it's like, they're the people who are most engaged anyway. Chances are they got no problem spending money because they're having fun. And fun is the key aspect.
I'm having fun.
And trust is the key aspect. And people trust Yoshi P. I think him stating it in the way and his slow rollout is that good cop mindset, so that when it does come in, it's like, you guys asked for it. Like, how do we get to a point where you guys are asking for it? We just start to sit here and start removing those walls, and then ultimately, like I was just following what the community stated. It did take a while, but it is. I think it's just such a funny, interesting thing, because while I don't spend money outside, like I bought the Lunar Whale for 14, I really don't spend a lot of money on the on just kind of cosmetics in 14, because I buy my subscription. But if that ever became an optional subscription, it'd be an interesting thing to see what the future of the MMO space would look like. But I think it's, if anything else, it's a long ways away if they ever decide to do that at all, which would be kind of weird. Why would you kill the $15 a month, guarantee?
I think for me, the 3 big games in my life are Lost Ark, Guild Wars, and Final Fantasy right now.
Yeah.
And that is a free to play, buy to play, sub to play. So like pay model is not something that I ultimately struggle with. I just want to know what it is prior to getting in.
Right.
What I don't like, what frustrates me more than anything else, is like if you and your wife want to invite me to go to see some show with you, and you go, hey, it's kind of a pricey thing. It's going to be $100 a ticket, $50 for parking. You have to eat there because we're going to be there so long. The food's always like $40. You're going to want a drink. It's $10 a drink. And then my wife and I sit down and we look at the budget and we say, wow, that's going to be like several $100s. And then we say, yes, that's fine. Like, I'm not telling you no. I just want to know what it is.
Yeah.
What I don't want is for you to be so afraid of me telling you no that you go, dude, it's really easy. You basically just show up at the door and it's really not even like a big deal. And then I show up and it's $50 to park. I'm like, that kind of sucks. And then I get to the door and I'm like, well, I already paid $50 to park. And you're like, oh, it's $100 to get in. You're like, okay, well, that sucks. And then I get inside. I was like, well, I'm just going to pop out to like McDonald's or something and eat something close by. Oh, no, you have to eat in here. And it's $40 a plate. What the hell, dude? Yeah. And so like what I want is I want to know what it is up front. And so, but with a live service game, now you're saying, okay, but they had to tell me up front 10 years in advance. So like, I understand I'm asking something unfair that I don't like that the pay model's changing, but it's been a decade. But like with a game, I don't like when the pay model changes. Just tell me what it is. I have free to play games. I have buy to play games, and I have sub games in my life. I don't like when they change.
Well, yeah, because it changes the nature of the relationship. And so that's where it's like, I see this being the first of many changes to slowly roll in. So it's not like even in 7.0, will the cash shop be there? I'd probably say no. I don't think we'll see the cash shop fully connected in 7.0. But as we move into 8.0 or 9.0, like I see that being
something with PlayStation. PlayStation's going to want a piece of that action if you're buying it in game, as opposed to right now you're going out to Mog Station.
Most of it has already been pre-negotiated. Most of it's already been pre-negotiated. That's probably one reason why, is that they probably don't want to give PlayStation a cut, because if you go into Fortnite gets a cut through PlayStation. That's why they're so resistant of cross-play with that game, because they want that. They don't want people spending money unlocking that over on Xbox and then having the feature on the PlayStation. And so that's essentially kind of a key aspect. And the closer they get to that, I guess they have to say, okay, yeah, through PlayStation, you can now buy Krista and you can use that as a part of this. You know, that's probably a really good point as to more the reason why we haven't seen it yet, is that you have to start opening up platform support. Same thing with Steam. There's more connection with Steam. That's what's been going on.
Steam platform went through its stuff this week. Somebody said their error message did not remind them that they were going to have to update the Steam password, which we found out several weeks ago. But we all forget, because we all have we've all slept since then. And so somebody woke up this morning and it said account suspended for suspicious activity was the error code that spit up. And it wasn't. It was a reset your password and link it with Steam. But like, it's weird. It flagged the wrong account code. And they're like, my account's suspended. And then they went out to it and like, they're like, oh, I just need to link it with Steam again. Oh, thank God.
Anyway, guys, we just wanted to sit down and give you guys our thoughts, especially because that's been an idea that's been bouncing around my head. We'd love to know yours. Chris, why don't you take us out?
Guys, I am playing back through Realm Reborn over on Twitch. Brian has been playing all sorts of things from Triangle Strategy to Destiny. Come hang out with us over there. But more importantly, if you've been around this long, then you probably like listening to us, or for some reason can't unlock your phone to shut the volume off. And so I'm going to tell you that we do have a memorial service coming up for Rock Druid. Anybody who's been around this long is probably somebody who's interacted with him at some point. And he passed away, and we are having our memorial in-game on March the 12th. So come say hello. Come be a part of the Work TM community for that day. That plus live letters is really all we ask people. Come stop by at a live letter and come tell us your interaction with the Work TM community and what it's meant to you, because it's a lot bigger than Brian and I. So
absolutely. Thank you, Chris, for that plug. That's going to be 2 p.m. Central Time. That's scheduled on YouTube. And I'm assuming you're also going to be on Twitch side of it. So where, pretty much go find us where you find us. And that's what we're going to be doing this Saturday. So guys, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you have a fantastic day. Hopefully we'll see you in our next video. But until then,
take care.